You've got a brilliant idea. We've all been there. But let's be real. How do you know if it's $1 million concept or just a dream? Today, we're going to break down how to analyze the business world around you to see if your idea really has what it takes to survive and thrive.
This is the question, isn't it? That mix of pure excitement and, sheer terror every founder feels. You believe in your idea, but how do you go from just a gut feeling to a confident, strategic decision? Well, the answer is all about doing your homework before you take that leap.
And here's exactly why that homework is so crucial. Research shows that up to 30% of a company's profitability has nothing to do with how amazing the team is or how innovative the product is. Nope, it's determined simply by the industry it competes in. Think about that. Picking the right playground is a massive, massive part of the game.
So where do we even start? Well, before we dive into any complex frameworks, let's just begin with a simple gut check. We need to ask a few really basic fundamental questions to see if your idea even has a fighting chance.
Okay, before you write a single line of a business plan, you've got to be honest about these three things. First, can you actually get into this market, like for real? Second, is there a group of customers out there whose needs are just being totally ignored right now? And finally, even if an industry is super tough, can you find a clever, unique path that lets you sidestep the biggest challenges?
If you can answer yes to those first few questions, hey, you're on the right track. Now it's time to zoom in and really decode the landscape. We need to understand the hidden forces that are shaping the entire industry you're looking at.
And for that, we turn to the gold standard, Michael Porter's 5 Forces model. This is a super powerful framework that's designed to show you what truly drives profitability and competition in any industry. And this isn't just some academic theory from a dusty textbook. It's a practical, real-world tool for strategic thinking.
And here it is. This is our map for the next few minutes. You've got rivalry right there in the center, and then you have 4 other forces pressing in from all sides: the threat of new entrants, the threat of substitutes, and the bargaining power of both your suppliers and your buyers. Each one of these puts pressure on prices and costs. Together, they determine just how profitable, or not, an industry can be. So let's break this down force by force, because understanding each one of these individually is the absolute key to seeing the whole big picture.
Let's start with the first one, the threat of substitutes. Now, this is a really subtle but incredibly powerful pressure that comes from outside your industry, and a lot of people overlook it.
So a substitute isn't a direct competitor. It's a completely different way of solving the same problem. Think about it. Someone choosing to do a video conference instead of flying for a business meeting. The airline and the video conference software are in totally different industries, but they're absolutely substitutes for each other. Now, what's really cool about this slide is the contrast. On the left, you've got prescription drugs. They have a very low threat of substitutes. If you need a specific medicine, there are very few other options, right? This gives that industry tremendous pricing power. But on the right, you've got coffee. If coffee gets too expensive, you can easily switch to tea or soda or an energy drink. That high threat of substitutes puts a ceiling on prices and profitability.
Okay, on to our second force, the threat of new entrants. This is all about how easy, or how hard, it is for someone new to just waltz in, pull up a chair at the table, and start eating your lunch.
Profitable industries attract competitors like moths to a flame. So the companies that are already inside, they build up these barriers to entry. These can be things like needing a massive factory to compete on price, having a legendary brand like Nike, or needing millions and millions of dollars in cash just to open the doors. The higher these walls are, the safer you are from newcomers. And now for the force we all think of first, rivalry. This is the direct, head-to-head, dog-eat-dog competition between the companies that are already in the industry.
So what turns friendly competition into an all-out war? Well, rivalry gets most intense when there are lots of similar-sized competitors, or when customers see the products as basically interchangeable and just buy on price. And especially when the industry isn't growing, because that means the only way to win is to steal customers from someone else.
It's not just your rivals who can squeeze your profits. The fourth force is the bargaining power of suppliers. Think about who you buy your raw materials from. If you rely on just 1 or 2 really powerful suppliers, well, they hold all the cards and can basically raise prices whenever they feel like it. And on the flip side of that, you have the power of your customers or your buyers. If you sell to just a few very large customers, like say an auto parts maker selling to Ford and GM, those buyers have immense power. They can demand lower prices and better quality, which directly eats into your profitability.
Okay, we've covered all the theory, but how do you actually use this stuff? Let's get practical and put these forces to work for your idea.
This is a brilliant and simple way to organize your thoughts, the assessment grid. It's just a tool to help you systematically rate each of the 5 forces for your industry as either a low, medium, or high threat to your potential profits.
The process is really straightforward. You pick your industry. Then you go through each of the 5 forces and, based on your research, you just label the threat level. Now, this isn't about getting a perfect score. It's about developing a gut feel for the landscape. Is this industry a calm lake, or is it a raging storm? And most importantly, which force is the biggest threat you're going to have to deal with?
All that analysis you just did feeds directly into your strategy. And this flowchart here shows you the path. Just follow the arrows. If the industry looks tough, hey, don't just give up. Ask yourself, can I find a unique position to avoid those pressures? Can I create a business model that the big players just can't copy? If you can find a yes to any of those, your chances of success shoot way, way up. But if it's a no all the way down, it might be time to rethink things.
Okay, finally, after analyzing the entire industry, we zoom in on the individual players. It's time to size up your direct competitors.
And here's another great tool for that, the competitive analysis grid. Look at this example for the shoe brand Allbirds. They're not trying to beat Nike on performance or selection. Instead, this grid makes it crystal clear where their advantages are: comfort, design, and especially being eco-friendly. This is how you identify your unique value and your true competitive edge.
So the framework is in your hands now. You have the tools to move beyond that initial gut feeling of excitement or terror. The only question left is this: what will this analysis reveal about your brilliant idea? Go find out.